if you keep boxing yourself and saying like, oh, I don't know how to network, I don't know how to talk to people, you would be stagnant, or you have to use time the energy to get to a point where somebody that has somebody with 7 years experience is getting to in a very short time. Sometimes you also have to know when to make a case for yourself. You see that moment they tell you, the moment they tell you, oh, well, you're doing a good job. Oh, that's the moment. That's when you ask for what to hold them by the neck in that moment and say, oh, you know what would have made it better? If literally I was like, do you know what would have made it better? If I had a MacBook. It is good to let your manager know and agree that you sabi.
Okay.
Because even when you go and advocate for yourself, they are also the voice in the room where you're not in the room. So they will most likely circle back and say, oh, Dolapo had this conversation with us. What do you feel? That person doesn't rate you. You'll feel like he came to chat rubbish. Yeah.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Dolapo Omotoso, and today we have with us Dolapo Omotoso. Dolapo is right now the Revenue Growth Director of TransferGo, but she got to this stage in about 3 years from an internship at Piggyvest to be the country director at Lemfi. She's going to be telling us all about that journey. She recently published an article on Medium where she talked about that journey, but here she's going to be breaking it down for us. So Dolapo, thank you for honoring my invitation. I'm really excited to have you here.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to actually be here because I feel like when I wrote the article, I still had like questions from people. I feel like people saw like a lot of gaps, so it would be nice to like shade in and like draw like a proper timeline of like what my journey had been like.
Yeah. I remember when you posted it in the Her Synergy. I don't know, how did you even get that? I think someone mentioned it.
Yeah, someone mentioned it.
Yes.
I posted it on my Twitter. So that day, funny enough, I had not written like in a while. So I was just like, okay, let me write about this and put it out there.
Okay.
And then I put it up on my Medium page. I had not posted anything in like 2 years.
Okay.
And I put it on Twitter and it started doing numbers. I didn't even put it on like WhatsApp. I didn't bring it to like WhatsApp status or anything, because I'm just like, I don't want people to freak out that I quit my job. Because it was one of two things. It was either, oh my God, why did you quit? What's going on? Or and I wasn't ready to like start answering, oh, this is where I'm going off to, or this is what's going on. So it was on Twitter, and then it sort of like grew on its own. So it came up on our Synergy, and it was nice to see people talk about it. I was like, okay, and maybe next time I would like add more context, so like what the journey had been like. But it's nice actually now doing here.
Yeah, I love that actually. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
I know there were a lot of questions, so I'm really hoping I get answers to those questions during this. But before we get into the main conversation, we like to do a little game called Techies Assemble. The name is still a work in progress, in case you have any ideas. But basically, it's a deck of cards. Can you shuffle a deck of cards?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Awesome. So you shuffle the deck and then select 2 cards. So you can just select one at a time.
Okay.
It's a scenario-based question. You read out the scenario and maybe give us context of what that scenario looks like to you and what your answer will be.
Okay. Let me pick this one first. Then I'll assemble. I'll reshuffle if it's
Okay.
Your computer launched a negative ad about your product. How do you respond? So this has happened a lot of times. Especially when you work in marketing and when you do a whole lot of social listening, it tends to happen, especially if even consumers are pitting you both against each other. At some point, somebody's going to act on that, what's that word? Act on that push.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the first thing to do is, if it's negative and what they are using in their commercial is sentimental, ignore it.
Okay.
And I would say ignore it because sometimes you giving it attention gives them attention. Most times, it's always the person with the bigger platform that is getting the ad made about them.
Okay.
So if you are giving them attention or you're responding to their ad, you're spotlighting it. Another thing you can do, and I know that some banks have done this before, is if certain banks make very interesting ads that are shading them. Let's say there's one that
First bank selling back.
just go and report to your regulator.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, change. Just report to if the stakes are big. That way, ignore it. Ignore it on the medium they expressed it. Ignore it on social media.
Okay.
Ignore it in print. Ignore it in all the mediums, and just go and report to your regulator. I would rather do that than give you free publicity or spotlight you or make you known to like the field of customers that don't know you already. So,
oh my God, you said go and report. That's taking a gun to a knife fight, though. So nobody should mess with your brand, basically.
honestly, I'm always like pro go and report most times because again, sometimes your stakes are usually higher. Like,
Okay.
Sterling Bank is a great bank. I agree. But GT Bank and Sterling Bank, they have different spread.
Okay.
In terms of like users, GT Bank is the go-to student bank in like Southwest Nigeria. Imagine them now spotlighting a Sterling Bank, and then at the end of the day, nobody wins, or Sterling Bank will come again next 2 weeks and do it. Like,
Yeah.
you just go and report them. When you report them and they get fined or like get a warning, they will not know how to do things like that again next time, and everybody will channel their energy towards like a productive approach. There's no
Sentimental.
there's no what's the word award for long suffering and enduring rubbish if there is a system in place. So guys, a solution.
Okay. So people should not try Dolapo. Don't
I'm scary. I report to the regulator. I don't know about other I report it to the regulator. I'm very, if there are laws in place, I will take the leap. I will do it. I will report you. If I don't report you, somebody on my team will report you. Because again, you can't be creating you can't be bringing disruptive energy to people that are just trying to create solutions.
Okay. That's actually a valid point. Also, to the next question.
Next one. You're launching a new sustainable clothing line. How do you create a marketing campaign that resonates with environmentally conscious consumer?
How did all the marketing questions find you?
Who knows?
Interesting.
Sustainable fashion. How do I create a marketing campaign that resonates with the environment? So there's already like a backstory to like the campaign already. I want to be environmentally conscious. So I would first create a big idea. Let's say my new line is the color green, like emphasizing green and gardening and health. So my big idea would be go green, and I will tell a story around it. So when you do campaigns that you're able to tell stories around, everything just sort of flows from the big idea and the story. So if my campaign is going green, and it's showing that, the color green, I will most likely create a story about how we need to remember to plant more trees. We need to remember to be eco-friendly. We need to cut down on paper waste. And we're going to be doing the color green sustainable fashion, where we're pushing out fast fashion. We're pushing out like an eco-friendly line where when you see somebody wearing the dress, you just remember that it's life. And when you plant a tree, something around that story of like you're planting a tree. So I would take that idea, basically push for a online rollout plan where we're doing CGI modeling. We're trying to cut down on waste. Packaging is biodegradable. We're saying everything is green and sustainable. You bubble people sometimes. So what if you don't, even if you know that, at the end of the day, it's still clothes. You say, we're going to use sustainable packaging, sustainable box. We're going to use the boxes that we're getting. We'll collaborate with other eco-friendly brands that create like sustainable boxes and packaging material. Would create like a whole ecosystem rollout of like, okay, this is what everybody in this.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then we'll look for people that maybe creators that are sustainable friendly, not just fashion.
You don't do just fast fashion.
Yeah. So we're going to look for creators that do gardening videos, creators that do recycling videos, creators that do cooking at home, farm to table videos.
Yeah, I love those on TikTok.
Yes, those are going to be the people that are pushing out and saying that, I'm buying this, or do giveaways with people that want to
participate in that. Yeah,
or stock in stores that are eco-friendly. So we'll look for people that are pushing clean fashion, clean. And that's going to be how I would approach it.
Yeah.
So
you basically give somebody probably had this business idea and they're like, I don't know anything about marketing. You just got like from an experienced marketer. Okay. If you want maybe more detail, maybe you want her to consult more.
Call me.
Doctor.
Call me. My rate card will be X sustainable.
Oh my dude, I love that. Okay, so I think you've given us some great pointers on how you will handle those kind of situations. We now have some questions for you, and people have problems. I didn't realize that people actually had this kind of question. I'm like, what's going on? So there are a lot of questions, but I think we'll just we'll take the five. Take five. Okay, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. First person is called Olamide and says, in my entire marketing career, I have experience working in 2 fintech startups. And I do think that I want to work in more fintech startups going forward. The problem is that a good number of these startups are either looking for talent with 10 plus years of experience, or they're not hiring in Nigeria or Africa, or do not have vacancies in the marketing department. How do you think I can navigate this?
So I think that 10 years plus experience is actually very funny because my current job, it was 10 years plus.
Really?
Yeah, it was 10 years plus, number one. Number two, it was an opening in London. I was in Lagos. So they had like 2 openings for the same role. They had one that was being pushed in London. They had one that was being pushed in Nigeria, like globally.
Okay.
And they were asking for 10 years in experience. And I saw it and I was like, okay, aside everything, I looked through like all the requirements and I was like, aside everything, I basically meet up with this. I work for a competing brand that they will most likely have on their radar. And I applied. I'm like, sometimes you have to ask yourself, what would a Nigerian man do? And you do that. City. Yeah. To the other side, like I applied and they got back to me like really fast. And fun fact, I actually applied for the job as let's even see what's outside. It wasn't like I wanted to leave my job then.
Okay.
So I just applied and they got back to me like so fast. In fact, the first email was already given, we want you. I said, this is given. And then we did the first call, we did the second call. And at some point, I did like 4 interviews. And at some point, I basically threw that back in their face. Like, I was like, yeah, you want somebody with 10 years experience. I don't have 10 years experience, but we're here and we're trying to make this work. And they chuckled and I'm like, sometimes if you had stuck to your 10 years experience, we wouldn't have had like 4 conversations or me joining your team and what that would look like. So I think when you're applying for a job, move with some audacity. Dream big, London, Lagos. As at the time I was applying for my job, they wanted someone in London, my current job. They wanted someone in London. Me, I'll travel. If there's one thing about me, I'll travel for work. So I'm like, okay, I can move to London. But literally, after the first, second, and third conversation, I basically built out a model where I was like, I can move to London, but why don't we try this approach for the next 6 months? And I sold them on it. They bought into it. And I'm opening a Lagos office because of the approach.
Okay.
So again, location matters. I know I'm not going to discredit that. Experience also matters, but you've worked in 2 fintech. Don't limit yourself to that scope. On the part of people not leaving the jobs that they are at or like space, it's very hard. There was a shift in like the tech ecosystem and people now know that they can't just quit and get a new job like as fast as possible. So everybody's trying to do that thing where they are holding on to their job, even if they are not feeling it or they are quiet quitted, they are holding on to their job for as long as possible till they get something readily available. You, on the other hand, have experience, which not a lot of people equally have. So maybe you can position yourself in a way that by the time there's about to be an opening or there's an opportunity to bring a freelancer on board or a consultant on board, they will think of you. So network between like where you're looking. If you want to go to, let's say, a Google, look for Googlers on LinkedIn that are in Nigeria that have like similar backgrounds with you. Talk to them. And when I say talk to them, one thing I have found very useful is when you're networking, don't go with the approach of I want to use you or I want to take from you, I want to benefit from you. Oh, hi, do you want to jump on a virtual call? I think I have a couple of questions for you. Get on the virtual call. If you're a funny person, be funny. If you're a reserved person, be reserved. But introduce yourself. Let them know who you are. Let them know what point you are at. and just start asking like career-oriented questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? How can I be like you? Basically establish that, oh, this is who I am and these are my strengths. I want to help you. I want to help you with a research paper. I want to see if you don't mind bringing me freelance on simple things. There's some simple things that people that have gone that I wouldn't like want to bother themselves with, maybe first research and all that. Reach out to me. I just wanted to introduce myself. From the virtual meetup, you can propose a physical meetup, or if you want to do coffee sometimes. And from there, they're starting to think of you as a useful person, a resourceful person. And when they're moving on to like a new role, you're like the first person that they'll pop into their mind, or they're sending like the opening to you first. So be patient. Don't think of experience. Don't think of strict requirements as confinement. Just see opportunities in everything. That's the
Please let me go and open LinkedIn and start sending DMs. I said, please, can we get on a virtual computer? But I think that's really great advice, actually.
Yeah, because at first I used to always look at people that had like mentors and stuff, and I'm like, that's not me. Me, I'm too Gen Z and cool for that. But then I found out that like if you keep boxing yourself and saying like, oh, I don't know how to network, I don't know how to talk to people, you would be stagnant, or you had to use two times the energy to get to a point where somebody that has somebody with 7 years experience is getting to in a very short time, because the 7 years experience person is putting their backing behind somebody with them. So I was like, okay, I'm not somebody that would formally reach out to you and say, oh, hi, Iwalola, I really admire you. Sometimes those DMs make me roll my eyes, because me, I'm just like, I'm here fighting for my life.
Over a days, whatever people DM you, that's okay.
I'm like, I'm here fighting. Like, I'm trying to survive. Right, to survive. And you're like very formal, very like, oh, hi, Iwalola, I really admire what you wrote. I really find it very insightful. Yeah, it's nice, but like next time I'm thinking about it, I did not have like enough from that conversation to know like who you are.
Okay.
So I would rather approach it like, oh, hi, Walala, what's up? I wanted to find out if you could take like 1 or 2 questions, and then ask questions that are not, I want to use you, I want to take from you, but I want to learn like how you went about this. Okay. Are you ever, sometimes some people, it might not work every time, but sometimes some people would actually say, oh, this is what I did, this is how I went about it. And from there, maybe you get yourself a cool mentor.
True. So move with the audacity of Nigeria.
No, you move with the audacity of when applying for jobs. See, there are 2 things in this life you need to move with the audacity of Nigerian men from in your career: when applying for jobs and when you're on interviews, when you're negotiating salary. I have never not gone back. Who else in the trenches? My God. Who else in the trenches of like my career? I feel like my first like post Piggyverse job, I met the CEO and got on his radar because everybody that interviewed me, and fun fact, I found out that I was the only one that did like more than 1 interview on my team.
Wow.
I did like 4. See, the last interview was because he wanted to know. He was like, he wanted to know who is this person you want to hire that you ignored all other candidates for, and you've come to ask for more money for.
Oh, wow.
Literally. So I asked for way more money than I was earning.
Okay.
And then after the interview, we reached like a system where it didn't give me what I wanted, but it created a roadmap of like, okay, if you pass your probation, you will get this amount of money that you want. And then it was very funny because even what they were leading with,
okay,
I just off the camera I said, jeez. And I was like, okay, compose yourself. I was like, oh yeah, that's a bit. And composure. Like, I was like, yeah, that's a bit, like, you had to. So he was like, what are we expending this budget on? And fun fact is, sometimes they're asking for more money. Even if you move to other city, when you join company, just work. Like, know that, like, oh, they're going to want to get every penny that you're asking for. So that audacity, you have to back it up with ability.
So 2 months down the line,
with your line, they will just be like, oh, we don't think you're a good fit, or we don't see how this is developing, or they would most likely give you what you want, but then you would find out that you're in a system where you've not gotten a raise after that.
You just be stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, I like raise. I like raise a lot.
I love that so much. Like the tips they have given us, Even the like how to write the LinkedIn EN. I love that. Okay, so move on to the next question. This person chose to be anonymous. Says, how do you position as someone who wants to go into business operations from a marketing background? Are there courses to take, things to highlight?
Courses to take. Okay. So yes, there are always courses to take. There are always but sometimes you have to ask yourself, will I be able to like practicalize this thing I've learned from this course, or you're just taking the course to have a certificate? They never asked me for a marketing certificate before.
Wow.
I even dropped out of like the first like pro marketing class I did. I was like, yeah, this isn't working. I'm not learning. And I found somebody that was doing like a mentorship workshop, a free mentorship. Fun fact, they paid for the one I dropped out from. That's the first time I dropped out from something. But then I found a free class, and it was in the way I could learn and apply on the go. So you had to ask yourself, okay, what do I want to learn out of this? The first time I did a course was because I found out that I could think of the ideas, I could implement the ideas, but the moment they started throwing numbers into it, it would scatter me. Like I would just be like, I don't get all these terms and all the numbers. And so I was like, okay, I'm going into this class not to learn like the framework or the basics. The basics I was good in, it's the number bit. So sometimes ask yourself, like, okay, this thing I want to go into, if I want to do a course for it, is this going to... Secondly, most people don't want to hear that you sat down through... I don't think I've ever sat down on a call to interview somebody and I mean like, oh, you did the Google project management course. How was it? Most times I want to see your application or like an idea of how you would apply these things instead of the paper. So I sort of stumbled into business operations. If you work in a startup, you find yourself stumbling into plenty roles that you don't know are roles, but you're doing it. And
Because it has to get done.
yeah. So the first time, I think something as little as merch,
Okay.
getting merch,
Okay.
is basically an operational part of like the business. If you know how to source, if you know how to take inventory, if you know how to negotiate costs, you are doing operations already.
Yeah.
Something as simple as getting volunteers for a marketing campaign is operations. Something as simple as organizing interviews or scheduling interviews is operation. So you have to see like what you want to be in the little things that contribute to it. And then when you get into interviews that position you for the show, you have to be able to highlight it in a way that, oh, and what I like when I talk to people during interviews or when I do interviews is I try to show that, okay, this is my action, this is the impact on the business. Sometimes my actions can be very big and very grand, but the impact on the business is very small. So because I bought merch, and even in like all the jobs I've held, because I did merch, I said, oh, let's do it this way. I went outside my comfort zone, outside my job description. I did one or two things that involved like organizing things.
Okay.
They're like, okay, we can trust. And when you do small things like that, they're like, okay, we can trust this person to open.
Yeah.
Because I was with a team that opened offices across like Africa. So at some point, I went from like working with the team to being sent alone.
Wow.
Yes,
To other African countries.
very interesting conversations to have with African mothers.
Okay, you tell your mom that, oh, I'm going to Rwanda.
Like, funny enough, my mom was always like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. But like, at the same time, it was like, I've gotten to cities where I didn't know anybody. Like, airport, enter the airport, go through immigration, get myself a SIM card,
Okay.
get myself an Airbnb, and I don't know nobody in that country. And like, it's because you've shown capacity in being able to handle like the small things. They're like, okay, yeah, this person is not going to mess up, and this person can handle like the big operational update. So position yourself in like the things you take on and work as asides. That's my best step.
Okay. Our next question is from someone called Doreen. She says, how can I enter the tech industry and succeed? Between data analysis, product management, and fintech, which direction is easier to pursue and easy to land a well-paying job? You giggled there because me, I was like, hey, God. Okay. She says, my background is financial management and business management.
So first off, there's no easy money in tech. I'm so sorry. Like if they're paying you 10 naira, they've probably done like a cost projection or how many millions having you on the team would bring to the team. So that's number one. Number two, fintech is like a subsect. So you can still be like a product manager or a data analyst in fintech. So is fintech well paying? Yes, it is. Are other parts of tech well paying? So it can be. So there's no first come during, there's no easy way. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to hustle. Number two, you
said easy. Is there anyone that's easy to land a well-paying job?
no, that's not easy. There's no job. That well-paying job, Steph. Sometimes you have to battle it till you get there. So there's no easy. Like right now, if you have followed tech trends, a lot of layoffs happened last year. A lot. So even some people are currently doing jobs they are currently overqualified for. So there's no job first. Easy to land. None. Well paying. All the adjectives you use is very hard. It will take a lot of back-breaking work. It will take you starting from a smaller role maybe, or just everything aligning at the same time after you have put in the work for the well-paying bits to kick in. Some of us are still waiting for the well-paying bits to kick in. So it is a journey that you have to know that, okay, this is where I want to be. Because most people don't start from like great paychecks. They start from good paychecks. So if your motivation is money, I think by the time you get to where the money is much, you would have seen a lot. So you know that it's not easy.
You know that in fact you need more money.
You know that it's not easy. And this is something you can ask people that are doing technical stuff and non-technical stuff. So when I say technical stuff, engineering, technical stuff. By the time they get to that, if they draw a line of their first job versus where they are, you will see that they have changed. They have changed in terms of mindset, in terms of age, in terms of stress level, in terms of the things that they devote their energy and time to. So nothing is easy in the tech ecosystem. I think those stories that I used to read online, they are very sweet to read. They are not easy.
Yeah. So piggybacking on that too, they aren't easy. That one I can tell you. In fact, we move easy. I think what you should just focus on is trying to map out a plan. So it doesn't seem like you're clear on what you want to do. So I'll say expose yourself to virtually all of those things. Don't pay for any courses yet. Kind of go on YouTube and see, like, I'm sure there are a lot of what does a data analyst do in a day and all those kind of videos. That's what they're there for. And then secondly, you can join some communities like maybe Women in Tech Nigeria, She Code Africa. There are a lot of communities out there, and meet those people, see what they're doing. From there as well, maybe you can get to see job opportunities, but there is no easy job. You actually have to work. No one is going to refer you for a job when they know you're going to go and do nonsense. That one for sure, because that's their reputation on the line. So yeah, I hope that helps, chap. Okay, next question is from a lady called Florence. She says, how can I grow in my career path from being a social media manager to a digital marketer or marketing specialist?
Okay, so maybe because I've done this.
I thought it was the perfect question for you.
Yeah, so maybe because I've done this, you have to be very curious and you have to ask questions. You have to also take yourself outside the social media bubble and interact with people that do the kind of marketing you want to do. So let's say you have a performance marketing person. I can run ads on only Twitter, and I learned that from the performance marketing person because it was necessary. So you interact with him, you tell him, okay, how do I know if this thing is performing well? Like that, you're able to track, you're able to understand metrics, you're able to understand the how to. You relate with a content person. That person is telling you how they do SEO, keywords. They are giving you not everything, but practical examples of how to learn everything. You're interacting with the product marketer. He's telling you this is how we do surveys. This is how we take the surveys input, we put it back into, we create a new product. You're learning. So if you are opportune to being a bigger team, you have to take yourself, like just tell yourself that you're not coming to come and dance on TikTok and go home. No, you're coming to come and dance on TikTok, and after you're done dancing on TikTok, which is your primary job, you say, oh, what can I do? What do you need me for?
Yes.
And then you learn from there. You say, oh, at some point, somebody will push something your way and say, do you want to send push notification? You learn. If you send a push notification once, no matter like the software you're using, it's a skill.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people who can do that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of social media managers can say, oh, I can. So you're already building like I won't say portfolio, but like a base to like take your next big thing on. So that's maybe how you can learn, sharing that opportunity. But if you're not, you can maybe go for a course. Maybe try Treford. I did Treford. You can try Treford. You learn a bit. What you can do from Treford is most of the mentors that come to class, ask them in case you know somebody, I want to learn more in marketing, so that they are also like your first launching pad to, okay, I've seen this person think in class. I think this person can do this.
Yeah.
So build your network of like courses like that. But those are like the 2 roadmaps I know. I don't know if there's like a third one.
Actually, what I'm going to suggest, volunteering.
Oh yeah, you can volunteer. So the thing about volunteering is sometimes everybody's mindset is money oriented. So people treat volunteering as I want to just slap it on a resume, and you're missing out on being close to somebody that will most likely be a mentor or most likely be a significant part of your growth. So if you're volunteering, don't just see it as, okay, they asked me to write this paper and this paper and this paper.
Yeah.
Say, okay, what else can I do for you? Try to build a relationship with the person that is running the bigger team, or more experienced people. Volunteering is great. There are a lot of tech conferences, tech communities,
and they need volunteers.
They're always in need of volunteers to do like small things.
Yeah.
And those small things will get you noticed and will help you in the long run.
And then whoever's on that team, so you're probably volunteering with other people who work in other companies. They need the role that you want? Of course, like who else would they possibly think about? Nobody wants to go and put out a job opening and then start going through 1,000 CVs.
Nobody likes hiring.
Honestly.
I've not met, maybe a recruiter, but I've not met anybody
that loves
especially like when you're working, because a lot of people don't understand that when you're hiring people, it is a big burden on the hiring team, because you have to do your normal jobs, meet your KPIs, chase everybody that you chase normally, and now sit through interviews. And some of these interviews, you just be like, so what's going on?
Like, so why are we here?
I don't like hiring people. Like, I like when I
find you
into the team and I'm like, oh my god. But the process is, sometimes you meet certain people during your hiring and you're like, even if I want you, I can't afford you. Like, there are certain people that are like, oh my god, yes, I want you, I can't afford you.
Yeah.
What you've described right now, you can never survive here, because like, literally, the time we're hiring for a motion designer, and the first question off the bat is, how many hours does it take you to do video? So if you want a video in 2 days, can you do it? Some people are like, oh, this is my process. I love your process.
What's the timeline?
Some people are like, 2 days, this. So everybody that said, 4 to 5 days in it.
We are not part of
in a part of that, we don't even know where we're going to next week. 4 to 5 days. It's not a bad answer. It's your truth.
It's just not the match for that organization.
You've been shortlisted because the quality of your work that you submitted to get into this interview is great. But 4 to 5 days, which is reasonable in any part of the world, is not a good fit for like the culture of the team, where we're like, let's do this now.
Yeah.
So most like the people that said 2 days, we say, okay, let's take it from there. From there, we ask the next question. So it's a very long process. Yeah. Everybody wants to go through.
Yeah, honestly. Another suggestion I have is, there are a lot of resources out there. I know of Tenzi Africa. I know like the people behind it, and they share like really good resources. They have a newsletter. There are a lot of resources out there. Like,
so fun fact, and I'm actually being serious. Do you know that anytime I was to prep for an interview, I think last time was the first time I went to YouTube to prep for like a job interview.
Okay.
I always watch TikTok videos because they're like 3 minutes. They're literally 3 minutes. Man.
True.
And so the beauty about TikTok is SEO is great. So you can literally go on the search engine and put how to negotiate pay, how to answer this question, and they'll filter it for you. Number one. Number two, the person is not giving you fillers. YouTube videos, I love YouTube videos, but you see TikTok videos, that's where it is at. They're doing you, so they've asked you this during a job interview. This is what they want to test. Are you looking for interview on TikTok or
another angle? I love that.
And most of them have playlists. That's it. Okay. Creators that do these things on TikTok, they have it.
God bless them.
See, so they have a playlist of how to introduce yourself, how to tell them what you've been. That's it.
Yeah, they did not.
I'm like, we're making it ourselves here. Like, literally, so literally just onto TikTok, anything you consume content of, you just need to know the right keywords. There are threads on Twitter that are so honestly, like, they'll literally tell you how to rewrite your CV, how to send a code application. So anywhere you consume content from can be your place of like learning. You just need to know where to go there. Even Instagram, honestly, there are people that say, "Oh, if you're going for a virtual interview, this is what not to do. This is what to do." These are, again, explore.
So you have to. I think the first thing you said was curious, like being curious.
Very curious.
Like literally, be curious and follow that curiosity, and you will learn.
So.
Also, the last question, and I feel like I'm going to butcher this person's name, from a person called Achafri Mbenga, says, I want to transition to tech, but do not know what to dive into. How did you know what to pick?
So, I studied law, and
I studied law too.
to go to law school.
I did.
Which one?
Well, you know, if you study outside of Nigeria, you go to Abuja first, then in Lagos.
Rich King.
Which one did you go to?
I did Lagos.
Okay.
Like, nothing took me out of Lagos.
Okay.
Nothing.
But it's Bayelsa.
University.
Oh, wow.
Law school. Nothing.
NYC as well.
Nothing.
Interesting.
There's nothing. I'm sorry, nothing. I had to stay in Lagos.
Yeah.
So, I studied law. And up until the pandemic, so I was a pandemic lawyer. So up until the pandemic, I went into law school with a different vision. So my final year, I already knew that this law was not working. It wasn't giving me like what I thought life was supposed to give in terms of like a career. Okay. The big picture I had for myself, like in terms of like 20 years, 30 years down the line was, okay, I'll be a top lawyer like Jessica Pearson.
Jessica Pearson with the outfits.
Yeah, like, okay, I'll be a partner. But even when I would envision myself, I wouldn't envision myself like happy or like fulfilled.
Okay.
So I said, okay, we've done the 5 years. My mommy money can always.
Okay, but did you study law because of your parents?
No, funny enough.
It was of your own volition.
No, of my own volition. Sally, I went to the Jam Center to put course. I said, I want to study history. My daddy chuckled, said, what job do I want to do with that? I said, I actually loved history. My dad was like, yeah, you love history and you're really good at it, but what's the goal for studying history? And I couldn't answer. I was like, okay, mass comm then, because I could talk. So I was like, oh, mass comm then. And my dad just goes, it's like, I think you should study law. I think you have the brain for it. And next thing they have put law, I said, okay, well.
And you got in.
I got in. So I got in and then I got sold on the dream. And there's this rush when you go to a good university, which, like, good university in terms of syllabus and like exposure.
Yeah.
When you go to a good university, you're like, okay, the sky is my limit with this thing. And I was like a good law student. I was very mock.
Okay.
I was a university debater.
Okay, so you took part in all those extra activities.
LMUNs. I was there. I was one of the few people in my class that would say, oh no, let me do this. Let me write a brief. Let me write.
I love that.
So I applied myself. So, which is still shocking to people that I didn't practice law. So in final year, when I already knew that wasn't the end goal, I don't know how it happened, but I went into law school with the mindset of I would do law school, and after 3 years of practicing law, I would go back to law school and become a judge. So that was the goal. So I went into law school with the mindset of becoming a judge.
And you would have been a lovely judge. I'm just imagining red glasses, your gavel.
And I'm really very, very like nice Lagos State High Court judge, new judge, fresh off the bat. Like, I was 6%. So I wanted to be a judge, and it wasn't because I felt like they needed me there. I said no. I said, okay, if there's something I'm going to do for the next 20 years that will give me that kind of lifestyle I want, I think being a judge will be it.
Okay.
And I think I got exposed very early to like what practicing law outside of outside university was.
Okay.
Because I was interning. So I would take like my long holidays and go and intern, and I would see the lawyers and how they were hustling, and I'm like, it's not me. What do you mean? It's even the office. Nah. and you're carrying like big case files.
Baby, what should got in the morning with all your...
Oh, good to see. By the time I realized that, okay, I met someone, and then he was working at a great company, and I kind of liked the kind of life that tech gave him. Like, he went from my family cannot afford this to, I want to do this, and I'm doing this, and I'm working somewhere great, and I'm enjoying my work environment. I'm enjoying what I'm building with these people.
Okay.
I'm enjoying my little contribution every day, the culture, the fast-paced change, if there's a crisis, and like everything. And I'm like, I want this.
But how did you then decide marketing?
So marketing.
You were talking about the pandemic. You were a pandemic lawyer.
So I went back to law school, finished law school, and there was like this gap where everybody's waiting for their bar finals exam, and everybody's applying to law firms. Me, I sat down at home. I was not applying to law firms. I was applying to companies, tech companies. I got rejection left, right, and center. In fact, one particular one, I did about 3 stages of interview. And then I had done like a freelance job. So I had like a business that I was running, like a side gig, event planning thing.
Okay.
So I wanted to go into biz dev because I felt like, I can run a business now. I can also I can also develop your business for you. Like if I can do entrepreneurship, I can do business and tech. So biz dev was like the goal.
Okay.
But I was eating rejection left, right, and center.
Oh gosh.
And I now started talking to people that, I want to do, people are telling me. I did one particular word with this company. I'm not still forgiving you. I might be able to judge you. The first interview, second interview, third interview.
Why did they let you do all the stages?
Then they ghosted me.
I don't want to say rejection. They ghosted you.
They ghosted me.
I think that's worst experience.
My friends were now also, because again, one thing that really, really helped my journey is the kind of people I surround myself with. So my friends were very invested in my development, and I'm equally invested in theirs too. So my friends, they were stalking the company for me, were stalking them everywhere. That's why they did newcomer day.
And you saw that they hired some
They hired people. And the person they even hired was from my class in uni. I said, so I could have just communicate. So Asha, the Lulu is this, Lulu. So I was the I said, no, maybe they've not hired for that particular role. Although that person had already updated the LinkedIn, I said I was the role. I said, can you imagine me, God? This thing paid me. So one day I was freelancing for somebody. And I had already applied for the tech job, but that thing really weighed my spirits down because I had put myself out there. I had done presentation. There's even something I learned called Iraqi chats.
Okay.
I learned it because of that job. I got people on Twitter to help me. So that thing really weighed me down. I'm like, am I not wasting my time? I had 2 law firm offers. But that I didn't apply for.
Okay.
They're like,
they just reached out.
So they're like, yo, what's up? When do you want to resume? Our partner remembers you from this competition. What is me, the Lulu? I say, no, not me and you. I'm not doing law firm job. So someone I was freelancing for, one day I just like started. I said, I can't believe this company did this to me. And as I was complaining, the person just whipped out his phone and called the CEO of the company. That day was so funny because this was like a small CEO. We're talking now. He's like, hey, what happened with this person? I was not like, what happened? Then I called the recruiter. They're like, well, the recruiter just resumed. She doesn't really like bother in that she was sorry. But again, at that point, it changed something in me psychologically that the people I surround myself with believe in me so much
that they are able to.
This person did not
stick out there. He didn't
hear that. If I said rubbish in my first interview or anything, he just went straight to you.
I knew that I can't be that he did nonsense.
And I was freelancing for this person. So he called the CEO. The person was like, that we just checked. She was like the 4th person that we were considering to hire, blah, 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 that. If something comes up, we'll like send it. So the person that I was working for that should have been angry that, why are you working for me? I'm trying to work for that. Person was not the one encouraging me that put yourself out there.
Wow.
I let go of the anger. I now went on Twitter. The good ideas and bad ideas come on Twitter. I went on Twitter and then someone had put out a tweet that if you want to get into tech, customer support, it's the great place to start. I'm not a customer support person. In fact, I'm the one fighting you if you're a customer support person. I'm the one calling your line, shouting at people, calling you out on the timeline. I was such a very aggressive customer. Rubbish, what rubbish are you going to get? Me and Jimmy every 2 to 3 days.
Wow, so if you check your Twitter timeline, would have been seeing loads of
Jumia see, I used to owe them because Jumia Food was like the only food delivery business
at that time.
And they used to show me shege then. They brought my food one time a day after I ordered. Yes. Like a day after.
They shouldn't bother.
Like, and they refused to refund. So like, I was such like a very irate customer because this is customer support is where to.
So you would have been like reflecting on your life that
and then
I've done to people
said they've now added a tweet at Piggy Vest. We're hiring customer support intern. And I say, I know Piggy Vest. I use Piggy Vest. They should hire me. I now apply for the job. My friends sat down with me. We put the application. They're like, what it's like is what it like is. Step 1, they shortlisted me. Step 2, Step 3, interview. First interview, I meet my future manager and she goes, "You're overqualified for this thing."
So what did go do?
Because it was a social media customer support internship. And this was me coming with like first degree from Unilag, speaking all the Oyinbo on the call, and then saying that, I'm waiting for my cultivar to be like a full lawyer. She's like, "I need interns." I said, "Take me." Literally, I was on the call. I said, "Please choose me, pick me."
I love that.
And then I said, "No, I'm not. I've come here. I opened my eyes. I applied."
Yeah, I know what I'm in for.
What do I want for pay? And this was me that was running like a side business. So pay
Wasn't so.
pay. I said, "No, just let me enter there first. And when I enter there, I'll go and meet the biz dev person after 6 months."
Right.
How far do you want biz dev person? So that's like my roadmap plan. So she stalled. After the first interview, she went silent on that end. I say no. So I learned after the first time that sometimes when you sit down on things too long, so I mobilized all my friends, everybody. I was like, "Oh, hi, I applied for this job." Even people that, "Hi, I applied for this job. Can you talk to this person? Hi, I applied for this job."
Wow.
So I didn't know that they were actually going to go and talk to her. So on the first day of like our onboarding, she literally looks at me and she's like, "Two things happened because of you. First off, we've never paid interns this much. Secondly, you sent the whole world to me. So you cannot stress me." So I basically applied myself. There's certain things that I stomached. Because when you're dealing with people's money, there's no reasoning with them. They want it now, they want it then. All this, there's a downtime, there's a English.
They don't know that one.
So it was very like letting go of that my superior stance of and being more empathetic towards people, tolerating more. And I think if there's one thing I enjoyed from like how I started my tech journey is it instilled empathy in terms of like relating from like the consumer's end. I understood empathy very well. I still apply it to how I treat my team members, how I treat everybody, how I treat external people that use the product.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you have to first be empathetic before. Nobody wants to know if somebody did anything wrong.
Yeah.
If you're scammed or if something is missing, I'm sorry. How can we fix this? Because again, you are as good as one referral or one bad experience from having a terrible day as a customer support person.
Yeah.
So I did customer support for like 6 months. And then my manager brought in like, we were like a group of 11 girls.
Okay.
And all girls team. And she would do things outside what she's supposed to be doing for the team. Like she would plan events for guests, source merch. And there was me that was running an event company that had like printers in Shomolu. No, that's like, so one day she mentioned how much she gets a tote bag. Then I said, I said, "Stop it." I call like 2 people. I'm like, "How much can you get a tote bag for me?" And that's how like we restructured like pricing for merch.
Okay.
And then we started doing more things together. So at some point she's like, "What do you do on Saturday?" I'm like, "Oh, I run an event company." She's like, "Oh, really?" And we started like working on event production, on experiential marketing bits there, and we got closer because of that. And then one day I say something and she tweets it and people on like Pinterest are laughing. And she's like, "You're really good at content." This is me trying to go to biz devil by this.
Your plan was like, I'm still going to enter the business manager's DM one day.
She's like, "You're really good at content." And she asked me to like the content group chat, and I'm working on content with like content calendars, weekly content calendars that she oversees with like the whole team. And there was this happiness the first time I worked on something from like scratch. When they posted it, and people were really, really like relating with it, sharing it and posting it. And I was telling all my friends, "Oh, I did it. Oh, it's me. Oh,
That was so cool.
It was so cool." and then we were like working on more campaigns and more things. And she's like, I think I want you to join the content team fully. Biz dev had died by that point. You're like, I'm like, this dev had died. Because even at that point, the biz dev thing, they didn't want me. They're like, oh, we're not hiring anybody. But, and as at the point where they said like, oh, we would. So the only thing is they wanted me to join the content team.
Okay.
There was clear like communications as like, we want you to be part of the content team.
Okay.
But we want you to be part of the content team after you're done with NYC.
Okay.
If I had done customer support up until when I was supposed to be done with NYC, I'd have run mad.
No. Honestly, I feel like customer support, maybe 1 year max. Honestly, 1 year.
See, do you know that there are some people like, and it was social media customer support. There are some people that I don't relate with on social media because of what they made me see.
And they don't even know that was you behind the hand.
I'm just like,
oh my day.
me, I can't relate with you on TSD. I'm like, I can't kick with you on the timeline. I've seen you. I've seen you.
I see your
I know them style. So there are some people that are like literally on Twitter, on social media, I take a step back.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I can't be friends with you because you've given me sleepless nights.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't last. And then I joined a community that, again, my manager was the one that started the community. It was non-tech in tech.
Okay.
So I joined the community and they had like a career run. I didn't know that I wanted to apply for a job. I always don't know I want to apply for a job.
Okay.
But then I saw a social media opening. And I promise you, I'd done everything in my power to run away from social media. Because I felt like it wasn't my part. I wanted to do like content writing and all that. But I saw social media.
And you're a good writer based on your medium.
You pussy that I do write well. But like I was like, I wanted to do like the content writing, but not the social media dancing on TikTok. You see, and I feel like when you explain your journey, when you add context to it, it now becomes very difficult. Because at first people were like, you are leaving law to go and do customer care. I say yes.
Like, no. I feel like that was probably like, oh.
No, my mom was, if there's one thing my mom has ever been, and I'm very fortunate to say, my mom is 10 toes down.
Are you serious?
Literally 10 toes down. She doesn't care about your earning.
Wow.
She just knows that you will figure it out.
Oh, amazing.
So she already knew I didn't want to do law. She thought I was going to like double down on my business.
Okay.
And like make my business my day-to-day.
Okay.
But I also had like the fear of, if I become an entrepreneur, I'll hire people on my team. If we don't make money that much, what will happen to us? Number one. Number two, what will happen to my bills? So I always had like that fear. And by the way, if my business was doing well, like that's why when they offered me when they were even talking money during the interview, forget money,
rest.
Take me. I'm here for you. Give me. Literally, when they caused the money, they were laughing. Me, I didn't laugh. I say, this money, do people reject money? Because this was me coming off like an event company that when I was applying for that internship, I was already charging 7 figures and people were paying it. Didn't beg stuff like, let's pay this amount. Let's remove like 200K or 100K. So I was good. But I would always treat every check that came in like the last one. Like, what if this money doesn't come in again? How do I pay my rent? How do I do this? How do I do that? So I was always like, oh my God, I don't think I can live this way. So I didn't want to do social media. I didn't want to dance on TikTok. And I know that at that point, TikTok was taking off. Every company wanted to be Duolingo on TikTok. I didn't.
Oh my God, TikTok, Duolingo, social media on TikTok. Nah. The person is underpaid no matter what they are paying that person.
It
has to be a move, right? Yeah.
I think it's like a whole group of like production.
Yeah.
I think they have their own legal sometimes at this point.
Because even the way they respond to comments, they've not missed a mark.
So I'm like, okay, what do we do here? So I'm like, okay, start somewhere. I feel like at that point, when you start from customer support and you hear the whole team, including like the CEO that hires you, say, you're going to join this team. This is what we need you for. Okay. They already see your potential. You're like, okay. And then I already asked the babe that is in the position of like, they want to elevate me to like, how much are you earning? By the way, salary progression is very funny. So it's like, I was like, how much are you earning? And she mentions it. And it's a good amount of money compared to what I was earning as customer support executive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want more. At that point, that's why I applied for the social media job. I think I want more. Funny enough, those words today saw my CV and they're like P-vests. will take you. And they hired me, they gave me 2x what the person I was supposed to was. So I was like, okay, we're starting off from a good spot.
Yeah.
I knew that social media was in the long game. But again, I like marketing. I think I should have known that marketing was always the way for me. I just, of recent, I said something. I said, it's very funny. Remember Khalil and Kabolik?
No.
The smoke ball case, invitation to treat in contract law.
Oh, yeah.
That should have been the point
Now you realized
marketing was the way for me, because everybody's reading a case law, everybody's reading the principle of law.
And boy,
Why did I spend 2 hours trying to find the advert itself?
oh yeah, it's there. I think at that point you should have known. So when you reflect it,
I actually spent 2 hours
okay,
on finding the actual ad itself to see it and visualize it and say, oh, this is how people in the 1900s used to talk to each other about advertisement and stuff.
Wow.
So when I got into this new company, again, I didn't know marketing was the way. I just felt like I was going to do cool girl content. In fact, when I joined, I had to buy all the equipment, ring lights, tripod stand, I had a work phone.
They have to buy the latest iPhone. How will your picture be
They
good?
sent me a filler. See, in this life, I say, babe, move with audacity. Even when they sent me HP laptop, I sent it back. I said, I can't use HP now.
Like, what kind of day do you want me to produce it?
Literally, it's like I went on Twitter, HP. Do I look like an HP babe? My manager was stressed all day. He's like, and funny enough, I had gotten a MacBook for my birthday previously, so I really knew how to use like a MacBook. And where I was coming from, I was using MacBook. So when it was like, what laptop do you want? They said, I like a Mac. And they're like, oh no, we're not going to do that. Yeah. So I used my personal laptop for like a couple of months.
Okay.
And then one day, and I feel like sometimes you also have to know when to make a case for yourself. You see that moment they tell you, the moment they tell you, oh, well, you're doing a good job. Oh, that's the moment.
That's when you should ask for what you
Hold them by the neck in that moment and say, oh, you know what would have made it better? If, literally, I was like, do you know what would have made it better? If I had a MacBook. Despite that, I wasn't for the mask.
I love that.
If I had a MacBook, it would have been as
Even better.
astonishing.
Yeah.
You think you like that reel? Oh, I
You
can't
love
do
it.
it real for you. So I was like, I was always, and I feel like that's also one thing. Forget that I'm joking about it. Even right from when I was a customer support intern, you will suffer as a woman, you will suffer as a newbie in tech if you don't know how to advocate for yourself. You have to know when and how to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
If you see that people are getting certain perks and opportunities, try to find out, like, how far, why don't, like, yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
There's a time they promoted people because I was still doing NYSC.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I get that.
they moved people that I joined with to executives, and they're like, oh, you're still doing NYC. And I say, oh, that's not going to work for me, dear. We do the same hours. One, I'm like, so sometimes when you're advocating for yourself, you win more when you bring the numbers. So numbers matter. Oh. Like, I'm like, that's not going to work, darling. I do the same hours. My turnaround time is better. I take extra stuff on. Like, I'm doing extra stuff for my manager.
Yeah.
In fact, you should have, if you wanted to move them, you should have moved me first off. Like, I agree that they're doing great job, but I equally am doing great job. Like, don't let people box you in for structure. I learned when they would say certain things, they knew that I'll come back. I said, yeah, so I agree with you and I see reasons, but this. And at some point, I would constantly say, like, oh, I hope I get to a stage where I used to hate it. Like, I hope I get to a stage where I don't have to advocate for myself. But that's capitalism. You have to advocate for yourself, like, at every point. You have to say, this is what you're giving me. It's not necessarily what you're giving somebody on the team, but this is what you're giving me. This is what I'm giving you in return. Alpha now.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Let's make something happen. One thing I loved about my former job is after that first time during interview where I asked for money, till I left, I never asked for money. Wow. See, till I left, sometimes they will just Dolapo take this, say, yeah, that is it. And I want like, cause I'm pulling the numbers. Even at some point, the only time I ever complained about something, I pulled up in, like, ensure that when you're advocating for yourself, you're not just being emotional. It'll save you a lot of stress. Like, you have to advocate for yourself as somebody in tech or somebody transitioning from any career, because I think my own question was 5 years down the line, when I look at my friends that decided to work in law firms, do I want to be happy with where I'm at or regret?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
So you knew that you had to take those extra steps, right?
you can't have, like, when you're switching careers, if you're leaving medicine for tech, if you're leaving law for tech, if you're leaving agric, if you're leaving anything for a new career path, you're leaving the unknown. And I feel like at that point, you have to make a pact with yourself and say, even if it doesn't work out, I won't have regrets. And I will know that I gave it everything. And I would also know that I did everything to ensure this didn't flop.
Yeah.
So that's like always the trajectory for it.
Yeah. So based on this, your story now that you've told us, I think some of the key things I've seen is one, advocate for yourself, like you said. But two, you also basically made your manager your mentor. And it wasn't in that awkward, oh, I wanted to be my mentor, but you were doing work that helped her achieve that.
Even when I don't get along with my manager, and there have been instances where me and my manager, we've gone bad and bad, like we've gone bad or bad. Even when I don't, I always try to let them know that I'm willing to learn.
Okay.
So sometimes nobody likes, like if I come and meet you and I say, this way you're doing a podcast, this is not how you push back, even if what I'm saying is making sense.
Okay.
So pushback is natural, but learning is where like you have to now put the ego aside.
Yeah.
There are managers that we couldn't stand each other outside 9 to 5, but I know that whatever I am today is because I worked with this person and I understood that this person was made my manager because I could learn from them or I could learn one part. Sometimes, fun fact, it's not always something tied to your career you learn from your manager.
Yeah.
There was one of my managers that was always having a great time outside work. Like
So you just learn how to have a great time outside work.
How do you do it that the rest of us are not doing? What's in your stew? Tell us.
Yeah.
So I would always be like, where are you going to? What are you doing for the weekend? And I would see like the efforts they put in towards like that balance. So sometimes it's not always like, oh, something to push my career. Number two is, even if you don't like them, it's good to let your manager know and agree that you sabi.
Okay.
Because even when you go and advocate for yourself, they are also the voice in the room where you're not in the room. So they will most likely circle back and say, oh, Dolapo had this conversation with us. What do you feel? That person doesn't rate you. He'll feel like he came to chat rubbish.
Yeah.
They say, this Gen Z's. This Gen Z's. This Gen Z's. And I had like my own this Gen Z's moment too, but they used to back it up with something like, this Gen Z sha. No, I quiet, but you know,
but they were like, but because of that, this is what this is the outcome.
And most times I've also been in good environments that they would have communications, even when like me advocating for myself doesn't work. They're like, okay, this is why this can't work right now. Okay. And they'll come back. It's not like they'll air me and say, oh, nothing for it.
Yeah.
They'll come back and say, I see your points. Whatever you brought to the table matters. Your manager equally backs it up. Always ensure that your manager backs you up. Sometimes run an idea through them before you even have fights. The one time that they moved people to LYC, as I was putting the number, I didn't put my number with HR. It's my manager I put it. They say, how far now? Let me stay half point.
Because by the time she goes to HR and she's like, you, what are you doing?
Point, HR was like, she's being sentimental. She's like, no, I'm not. Like, these are the facts. These are the facts. This person has given me what to work with. So your manager has to be like your mentor, your advocate. You have to get along with your manager. And one thing I've recently learned as I moved is my primary job every day is to ensure my manager looks good.
Yes.
It will say you sometimes telling you the manager is very carefree, but you have to ensure your manager looks good.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for Walala is hiring rock stars. That's what she wants to hear. Not who is this superstar that I will always hire that is not running anything through going and
because even if you say you want to join another team, the manager they'll be like, I'm bring this problematic person to my team.
That's why like some people are very wary of people that join your company, and next thing they are like kicking with all top management, but not having like a good relationship with their manager because they're like, yeah, this person is up.
You sound is fishy, yeah.
No, I don't want you.
Yeah.
So advocate for yourself.
Yeah, advocate yourself. Make your manager your mentor. And then you also said that you joined the non-tech in tech community, and then you took on extra work there.
Yeah.
So expose yourself to other things too. So as you're trying to figure out where you want to, so this is to Mbenga, right? As you're trying to figure out where you're going to land in the tech industry, do all those things, right? Expose yourself to more. So eventually take on opportunities, like she said. So if your manager says, "Oh, I notice you're good at this, try it out," at the very least. Yeah.
Fun fact also, Benga, like sometimes you don't need to have all the answers before you apply. Just surround yourself with people that will get you through the door. When you enter, there's nothing TikTok, YouTube, ChatGPT, and maybe 2 or 3 books cannot teach you in 1 week. You fake it till you make it.
I love that. YouTube, TikTok, ChatGPT.
There's nothing
Like with all those things, idea.
all those things. So far, you're not skilled.
Yeah.
Don't go and code though. Do right.
But even with that, people are running their code through ChatGPT and saying, "Don't like the bug."
Apply for content editor, motion design. I'll be looking for
Motion design, you will cry. You will cry. Okay, so let's just get into a few topics before we round up. Work-life balance. So you've said all these things. I don't think you have work-life balance. Do you? How important is work-life balance in getting that 3x trajectory that you have experienced?
Work-life balance will suffer at some point. And work-life balance will suffer at some point. The more you are emotionally attached to what you do as a profession, the more you would find yourself spending. There are days, I used to be, or I said, well, I want to be back though, but I used to be that person that people would ask, you sleep? And that's not a compliment though. That means you're burning yourself out. Like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. Text me if there's an issue. I don't know why. The Holy Spirit will wake me up.
And
I'll literally respond to you. So literally, I was always available. And when you're always available, you do more and you get pulled into more. So there's an issue on Friday nights. You are going to party. But I'm young. I can only be young once. I can only be Gen Z. Literally, Gen Alpha is going to come and everybody start looking at you to like mentor them, manage them. You can only be Gen Z once. I finished school pretty early. I started working pretty early. At a point of my career where it's very funny. Like, not a lot of people my age get to up. And sometimes it makes me feel very shy because I'm like, that's how I work in marketing because 3 years, like, this has been 3, 4, yeah, 20, I finished law school 2021. So yeah, 3 years of like constantly being at it. And I have gone from being a customer support intern, customer support executive, content person, social media and community person, growth launcher, country manager to one of the biggest markets because like we're a lot of people.
Yeah.
Country manager to one of the fastest growing startup. And now I'm a director.
Yeah.
And apparently director is not tied to director. Because apparently
you will work.
I was like, you're one. They started telling me to approve leave. I said, I just arrived. I mean, I'm still a baby. I'm still a baby, but like literally, there are people that count on you to make certain decisions. There are people that count on you before they move. Like, I'm doing my first month at my new job. I'm approving budget. I just came. Like, you don't even wait. Today, if I know 2 plus 2, you're really telling me, so what do you think about this pen? What do you think about? So you're giving me big decisions. And these big decisions, they take a lot of time to get to. So right now, I'm probably going to leave here and go and work.
Yeah.
Because I know tomorrow is Monday and there's certain things that I've told people that I would circle back for them tomorrow with, that I need to circle back. If not, I start to look I don't like being incompetent. So when you become more emotionally attached to your job, you start to suffer, your social life starts to suffer more. So my role is I've sent push notifications in club. Yeah. So you have to be determined. You have to be very determined and nothing's going to spoil you.
So you had your computer in the club?
No, on my phone. I can't. There are 2 things that can happen. You either wait till tomorrow or you enable it. I send push notifications from my phone in clubs. Like they have to be timing. You have to.
You gotta type Azu.
You have to see instances like that. You have to know that okay, you've done the groundwork. So I wasn't like drafting the push notification. There was like a bank of it. They just said, oh,
that is what
send out a push.
Okay.
I send push notifications from cabs. Like you have to optimize for comfort and movability if you have to be outside. 1, 2. If you're outside or if you want to have like a social life outside of work, you have to be very intentional with it and be present there. That's why if I go for a party, I'm partying. I'm sorry. Like again, it can only be your want. I'm partying there. I'm not sitting down. I'm not pressing my phone. I'm not trying to follow up with what is burning. Because trust me, something's always burning.
I'm telling you. Somebody will always DM me and say, oh, so 10,000 customers are affected by this thing.
Yeah. So party, be present, be very intentional with your plans with friends. Try to also create a system where when you take pride in your work, even when you are, there are instances my friends are shocked I show up without a laptop. Where's your laptop? I'm like, oh, it's calm today. Because it's not because they hate it, it's because they know that's who I am and that's kind of responsibility. So surround yourself with people that, even when it's not ideal, they are friends that have left a good time to ensure we drive somewhere to drop my laptop safely.
Wow.
And then we go back.
Okay.
So ensure that like there are people in your circle that would do things like that for you because you equally give back to the work-life balance. Sometimes you also have to know that you're not a machine and you have to like be very intentional on going on leaves. Nobody's clapping for you because you're not going on leave. You have to be very intentional with going on leave and being on leave. You're not on leave checking like work tools. Unplug if you need to unplug. And also know where, another thing about work-life balance is know where to put 100% or 90%, know where to put 10%.
Okay.
If something is not directly tied to your productivity, there's no, like, if it's an engineering problem, you cannot code. No matter how you shout on them or you speak the Oyinbo, the engineer is fighting for his life already.
Don't tell you.
You too, live there. Like, it's not, even if you are sober and you sit down, they're not changing anything.
So you might as well go out and enjoy your life.
If it is leaves that is down, a payment provider, yes, people are upset, people are angry. But you depriving yourself of a social life or a social...
God also rested on the 7th day.
Like, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
So, try to, like, do that. Also, be firm with boundaries.
Okay, so we've talked for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you've literally walked us through your career, why you made certain decisions, and what, all those things that came into play for those things. But I'm sure some people are thinking, only you in 1 year, you went from Piggyverse to LearnFi to TransferGo, right, in 3 years.
Yes.
So were you ever worried that people would see you as like that unserious job hopping person?
No.
Okay.
So I spent under a year at my first job, which was 7 months. And the second one, I knew that I had to spend at least a year and a half.
Okay.
So I also had that conversation with myself that because when you start hiring people, you get to notice things that are red flag. So I'm like, would I hire me if I come here under a year experience?
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you should stay in a toxic environment. Don't stay in a toxic environment too. But I was like, if this thing is working for me and I'm seeing growth, I would definitely stay longer. So I stayed for 2 years at LearnFi.
Okay.
So I did 2 years and 3 months, please. And then after the 3 months mark, I moved at TransferGo.
Okay.
Ideally, there are articles online that says you spend 2 years at a job. That's the way you would get good salary projection. I agree. So at TransferGo, I'm not looking to spend. Funny enough, what also hits me right off the door at TransferGo is the youngest person on the team is a few months, but the oldest person is 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it's not a one-off case. They're like people that spend 7
That's a great sign. When you join I see people there like...
So people are like, 5 years, me 7 years, me 6 years. I'm like, okay, that means if I prove that I'm of value, I would want to stay here longer. So I'm not pressed to leave. And I keep saying that with the way it is, my next adventure has to be my retirement adventure.
Okay.
Yes. So it has to be, if you hear that I'm joining a company, it has to be that I am joining a senior C-level,
Okay.
like senior C-level, so maybe CMO. So it has to be that. It has to be a ridiculous amount of money, and it has to be something that I know that I will be working with a team where I would spend quite a while.
Okay.
And after that, I'll probably retire and start freelancing or doing like fun art projects in my.
And then next, what about, are you thinking of starting your own business?
No. I don't have what it takes. I have seen founders. I have worked with founders. I know what like building is. I don't know 100%, but I have seen how, especially in Nigeria, what being a founder takes, how you have to constantly wake up every day and choose to fight for your business, fight for your business, fight for your growth, fight for any progress you make. Understand that the Gen Zs you are packing on Slack, they don't want to hear you tra. They just want to get their salary at the end of the month. So you have to constantly ensure that there's a balance. You have to fight regulators. You have to fight competition. So
and every wind change that just comes up.
I can never be a startup moment came at my last job where we had like a situation where we had to cease operation in one country, and people were freaking out. Me, I was calm. I was calm because I just said, I was like, CEO will fix it.
So because you've seen him handle a bigger
And
project.
be freaking out in his own corner.
Okay.
But there were people like me. I was so calm. Like people were like, oh my God, it's not looking like. I'm like, he'll fix it. Like I was like, he's a fighter, he'll fix it. Me, I'm not a fighter.
No. But you sound like you are based on everything you told us.
No, pay me salary, let me go.
Oh my days. So in that case, what was the driving motive, or what was like the motivating factor for that made you decide to move from Lemfi to TransferGo, if you can share?
So it was a very hard decision because that company is my baby. So it was at the point where I realized that I had gotten to a place where I needed to go outside and learn. If not, I would believe that I can do things in only one way.
Okay.
So right now at TransferGo, they're looking to learn from me. I'm looking to learn from them. That, okay, what have you done that has worked for you? What can I do to learn from you? So it was more of the motivation to learn, the motivation to understand that for now, remittance is where it is at for me. I understand remittance. I know how money flows. I know how to tell stories around it. I know how to market it. For now, that's the only thing I know how to market. I know how to market savings too. Shout out to E. But I'm like, remittance is where it is at. So if I want to do it, I would rather do it with people that have conquered Europe. I won't say I've conquered Africa.
You know how you are.
Small. I'm not small in the area of life, but I was like, okay, I want to know what people that have conquered markets have done.
Okay.
And then take what I know and make it better. So that's what
I love that. Yeah. So it's a learning journey, an adventurous journey, an experimentation journey.
with small money.
Yeah, of course now.
Money.
We can never go minus.
I can take a pay cut.
Really?
I would take a pay cut.
Interesting. Okay.
I took a pay when I
Well,
did
true.
university pay cut. I can take a pay cut. Like, again, I just have to rationalize it. If, let's say, Uber wants to build a remittance company or something, and it's less than what I'm getting, I'll jump on it. Not because it's Uber, but just because I know that it's a bigger... I'll take a pay cut to learn. Because I know that if I take a pay cut to learn, whatever I'm
2 years
learning from
again. Yeah.
not 2 years, maybe some years down the line, whatever I'm learning from there, I'm doing 4x from
Yeah.
straight off the bat.
Of course. I actually love that. Yeah. So my final question is reflecting on your career. What would you say have been your highlights, and what advice do you have for people from that?
Highlights. I think I like when people interact with things I work with. It makes me very happy when people interact with things I've worked with, find it funny, makes their day better, or they start writing think pieces on it. I like when I see that I do things that move people, even no matter how like minute it is. I love it. So those will always be my highlight. I lived a lot of lives at Lemfi.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful for that. I lived a lot of lives at PEVest. I did, like, not just people interacting with it on social media. I was working with a manager that was working on things that people were watching across Africa on Big Brother. We were doing Big Brother merch together. Like, so when we were like, oh, we want this, I'm like, nah, let's do amo. So I love that. That's like the highlight of like my marketing journey. Now at TransferGo, first month in, I did a masterclass, and I literally went on Twitter on Saturday evening to see like what people. I didn't even go for the masterclass. I just basically told someone on my team, do this. And they were like, oh my God, do more. And I'm like, okay, we're building something out of this.
Yeah.
So those things always like push me, and they're like, okay, you're going in the right direction. You're not wasting people's money.
Awesome.
So those are highlights.
Awesome. Any advice for people?
Enjoy it. Surround yourself with very good friends. I've been very blessed to find people that are, and I don't take my friends for granted, and you know that. I've been very blessed to find people that have done more in like the tech space, but will literally drop everything to help me. I've had people that are doing MBAs that will literally jump on call to start quizzing me for interviews. I've had people that are very, very busy, but will still find time to like say, oh, okay, let me look at what you're submitting for this job. My first interview at Lefi, I had a ring light that someone borrowed me, and apparently that's what piqued their interest.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Dolapo, for joining us.
It was fun.
I know it's been a day. You guys don't know anything that went on in this recording, but I'm really grateful. Thank you. And thanks for being honest about everything that you've gone through.
Aww.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yo,
Everyone, I hope you've found value in this. I hope that all the advice she's giving actually helps you in your journey. So please be sure to like subscribe, like, comment, and share, of course, if you know anyone who will find this valuable. Until next time, bye. Bye.